Welcome to Freemasonry, the Bakken Podcast, Episode 10. This is part one of Dues, where we have a lively discussion on basically that, lodge dues. The views, opinions, and thoughts shared on the show are that of the individual host or guest and not intended to represent the entire show, other co-hosts, Freemasonry, independent body, or grand jurisdiction as a whole. We try to have as much accurate and correct as possible, but reserve the right to be human and make mistakes. If you feel we have a wrong fact or have a difference of opinion, we encourage you to contact us via our contact page on the website for a mature, friendly discussion on the fact or topic. All right, guys, welcome back to the Freemasonry Bakken Podcast Studios after our holiday break.
It is the start of the new year, which is kind of good, although I'm starting off real well. Snowstorm, engine trouble. Oh, what fun.
Illness on our side. How'd you fare, Tyler? Oh, by the way, Tyler, you're joining us via Skype tonight, so your audio is a little different. So,
yeah, it's just the weather on the roads have been like wonderful for us this last couple of weeks here, and but it's been a fun time anyway. As far as before the all the sickness came around, all the holidays were good.
I don't think there's been a single family who hasn't been touched by some type of illness this holiday season, at least in the western half of North Dakota.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I couldn't wait to put the tree away. So the tree's away, decorations are down. I'm like, okay, let's get on with the year. Holidays are over.
I think the only thing I didn't catch was the 7-month-old's teething, and otherwise I pretty much caught everything everybody else had. So, but you know what? I am excited. It's 2015.
Yep.
We have a new year. This is the first recording of the new year. It's going to be a great year for us and our podcast and Masonry, not only in North Dakota, but worldwide.
Yep.
Am I right, guys? Can I get a hoorah?
Hoorah. I'm feeling good about it. How about you, Tyler?
Absolutely. It's going to be a great year.
I believe I asked you for a hurrah, not an absolutely.
Yeah. What's wrong with you? Give it the program.
That's me. That's what I say. I'm sorry. I'm my own individual.
Once again, we, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking for a third co-host for the Freemasonry and the Bakken podcast. But, okay, anyway, we had decided that about this time of year, people pay a lot of dues. Hence the title, Dues, and Dues. Now, Bob, you have found some historical facts about not only Masonic dues, but fraternities in general. Is that correct?
That is correct. As we were preparing for this podcast to decide, I always like looking at history. So I went back and some of my what I found was back when George Washington joined the Masonic Lodge in Fredericksburg, Virginia. That was back in 1752. At the age of 20, he paid a fee of £2 and 3 shillings, which was roughly about $3.27 with today's currency. But if you think about it, the equivalent of that today would be $826 just to join the fraternity. And I got this off of a blog from Adam Osman on the argument about dues. Now, as I searched some more, I noticed that during the Civil War period, right after the Civil War, was considered the golden age of fraternities. And it seemed like overnight fraternities just kind of popped up. All in all, I think there was like 300 different types of fraternities back then, including Oddfellows, the Benevolent and Protective Order of the Elks, the Loyal Order of the Moose. They got the Improved Order of Red Man, the Order of Star Spangled Banner, just to name a couple of them. By 1899, more than 6 million out of 21 million men in the United States were members of more than one of the country's 300 fraternities. Now, the average fraternal lodge member spent $50 a year in dues and insurance and another $200 a year just in initiation fees, banquets, travel, ritual paraphernalia, that kind of stuff. Now, if you think of that, well, $50, come on, guys, that's $50 a year. We're like, oh, no big deal. That's what we're paying now. But back then, the average factory worker made somewhere between $400 and $500 a year in just wages.
Wow.
So back then, now I looking at this in 2012, equivalent to $50 of dues would have cost those individuals $1,330 just for the dues, and for the initiation, the $200 would be the equivalent of $5,321.
Wow.
So that's basically 50 to 60% of these men's yearly salary. Now the thing is back then a lot of these fraternities also offered like a health insurance, life insurance, because they didn't have HMOs or Social Security or Medicaid, Medicare, or EAPs. So a lot of times what happened was, especially after the Civil War, the Masons and these other organizations offered like insurance policy. So if something would happen to a member, their widow and their children would be taken care of. So all of a sudden you saw Masonic villages open. And the first one was in Louisville, Kentucky, and that was Masonic Widows and Orphan Home. So that actually a place for Masonic widows and children to go to.
And you couple the benefits they got, which were not available at the time through any type of social or government means, insurance, Social Security, care for your loved ones, and that there wasn't anything else really to spend that income on. There wasn't, internet, cable TV. There weren't 30,000 sports teams to, send your kids off to.
Or buy their shirts.
Or buy their shirts. There wasn't professional sports to go. You could bet, you go to the bar, or you could join a fraternity. So there was a lot less to spend your income on. It wasn't as taxed as it is now.
Correct.
I know, looking at my, even monthly income, how many different locations it gets stretched to. They didn't have Netflix. They didn't have Amazon Prime. They didn't have a gym membership. They didn't have kids in gymnastics and Cub Scouts and blah, 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 blah. So, though I do agree it was a large percentage of one's income, there was also a lot less to spend your income on.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with everything you kind of said, Nolan. I think back, the big thing back then was that if something ever happened to a member of the fraternity, a Mason, that their family was covered, which kind of brings us up to some points I think we want to cover here in today's show on dues. And Tyler, why don't you go ahead and get us started on that?
Yes, talking about dues. We got 3 dues and 3 points. The first dues we're going to talk about is the amount of dues that we have for the Blue Lodge. And then we're going to move on to the second dues, which is a notion of the dues deposit. And then the third dues is going to bring us to dues in the appended bodies. So let's start out with number one, the first dues, about the amount of dues. So why don't you take it here, Dr. Bob, and fill us in on what you have for dues.
Well, okay, so let's look at Masonic Lodge dues right now. All right, so I did some checking around over the past week here, and my own home lodge, Robert Burns back in Harrisburg, my current dues right now are sitting at $85 a year, and if I was to join, that would be $300 a year. Now, one of my
new members are 300. Or is that
300 initiation? Okay, 300 initiation. Okay, and
want to be clear on that.
All right, be clear. All right. Now, to the Dickinson Lodge. All right. So, Nolan, to join the Dickinson Lodge, how much would that cost someone to join?
At the moment, 75, but that's in discussion this year.
All right. So 75 to join,
and 45 for primary member.
All right. And how about for an affiliate member?
For a plural member, it's 10.
Okay. So then we go to out there to Westgate Lodge and in Tioga, And to join, it's $100 to join, and the dues is $38. So let's kind of say to join, to your average dues for a Masonic lodge is anywhere from, say, what, 38 to 85. Tyler, what's your lodge dues?
My lodge dues at home in Lincoln, Nebraska is $48.50, and initiation has been $75 for the past 20, 30, 40 years.
Okay, now, and just to fill you in, I've talked to a brother out of Michigan, a traveling brother. Their initiation is $300. I don't know what their annual dues are. And I talked to a brother out of Idaho whose annual dues sits about $100.
Okay.
So even once you get beyond Western or like within the Midwest, you're looking at roughly that $38 to $100 range.
Okay. Right. Okay. So that's just, we're just talking Blue Lodge. You know, it's my belief, Nolan, that we pay too little for Blue Lodge dues. I think that dues need to actually cost more. They should be more.
But our income is already stretched the way it is.
But
many brothers' incomes are already stretched.
But you know, and we'll get into it later. The other bodies always ask for more money, but yet the Blue Lodge is the one that has always been put on the back seat.
But Blue Lodge has the most members by default because we are the base of the pyramid.
But I disagree with that because
that we're the base of the pyramid.
No,
I can draw you a picture.
No, I agree. We are the base.
Okay.
Of the but what we are is we're smaller lodges. We're not every lodge draws from every member.
Okay, that I agree.
So yes, we are the base of the pyramid. We are the beginning. However, you have lodges. Some lodges are very large. Some lodges are small. But the thing is when you got dues, and I threw out what various individuals are paying. That on average, let's say $50. So on average, we're paying $50 to be a member of the Masonic Lodge.
Okay.
All right. So,
no, I'm just moving my hands. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Keep going.
You were freaking me out there.
No.
All right. So
I talk with my hands when I'm trying to get you to realize something I'm trying to say.
Okay. Well, I thought you were swatting a fly or something.
No, I'm good. Keep going.
All right. So here we go, and we only pay $50 to belong. You know, to me, that's a drop in the bucket, and really not. When you pay a little amount for something, it's not always that important to you. Whereas if you pay more for something, it seems to be more of a value to you. For instance,
okay, I have heard that argument, and I will agree.
Okay, so if I go out and I buy let's say a used car off of a used car lot, and it has a couple dings and dinks in it, and I don't pay a whole lot of money for it. The thing is I'm going to bring it home, and I may or may not take care of it, and I may or may not allow my teenager to take it for a drive. Probably will, because, you know, it's an old used car. All right? But if I go out and I pay a lot of money for a vehicle, new or used, but I paid a lot of money for it, I'm going to take care of this vehicle. I'm going to make sure it gets its oil taken care of. It goes in for its inspections and its checks.
Okay.
And I probably won't let my teenager take it for a ride because it has a lot more value to me.
Okay, now, I understand what you're saying there. However, if the value we put in Blue Lodge is based upon how much we pay for dues, aren't we missing the point of being a Mason to begin with? Because we're there to be better men no matter what. No matter how much we pay in dues, and if it's solely based, I shouldn't say solely based, if a significant portion of the value we place in what we get out of Blue Lodge is how much we put, my financial support we give Blue Lodge, I personally feel as a Mason, we need to reevaluate if we should be a Mason to begin with. Because whether I give $1 or give $1,000, I'm there to make myself better, and to be part of the fraternity. That makes myself better, not because I gave $1 and I only get $1 worth out, or give 1,000 and get $1,000 worth out. I'm there to be a better person, whether it's free or financially breaks me.
Okay, I understand that. But the thing is we got a bunch of members that maybe pay $40, $50 to belong, and how often do we go to a lodge meeting, and we barely have enough members to even to have open a lodge because we don't have officers to do it. Okay, so
not once have I ever heard from a member who hasn't been there them say, I didn't go because I didn't pay enough in dues. It's family reasons. It's health reasons. It's weather-related reasons. It's because I made them mad reasons. It's not because they came to me and said, I just didn't pay enough in dues this year to come.
Well, okay. Would you join a volleyball team or a baseball team or an intramural softball team and pay the $50 so that you get the shirt and a hat but never show up for practice or to play the game?
If I were to join a sports team, I would join regardless of the amount with the intent to play. If I get a hat or not, I would join.
All right,
I did this with darts. Was I able to make every single darts? No. If things came up, things came up. I put my heart and soul into organizations that were free more than organizations that cost me a couple $100 because of interest, time, and what I got back out of them, not because of how much I put into it.
But that's because you're internally motivated. But I think there are some members that just join basically to have the status of I'm a Mason. They put a ring on their finger and they put
should they be Masons to begin with?
And then they throw the sticker on the back of their car, but yet they never show up to meet.
If the only way to get them to show up is to get them to pay more, I would say we don't need them as members. Now, if a lodge is financially struggling, I could see raising dues or having a fundraiser for the lodge. But simply based on attendance or to get the ones who are currently members to show up or to be more participatory, raising dues isn't going to solve that issue. Whether you're internally motivated or externally motivated, charging people for that isn't going to fix that. Their mindset has to change, not the amount they pay.
I once spoke to a Prince Hall Mason back in Harrisburg, and we were talking about dues and that and what's expected of their members. And he told me that they pay considerably more for dues. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he also told me that they are expected to attend the meetings and are actually fined if they don't attend the meetings. They're expected to be active. And
that's harsh.
And I kind of think if you're going to join something, then be a part of it. And I kind of like the idea of, I think if you paid more, you number one would think seriously about, do I really want to join this organization? Because,
right, okay, that I agree.
Part of, at one time, it was highly educated men. So if George Washington and even men all the way into the Civil War are paying half their salaries to join, you're really thinking twice. Do I really want to be a part of this organization? And if so, how active can I be in it? And I think if I'm going to invest my money, I'm going to invest my time.
And I actually heard from a listener, actual listener feedback. He just became a Mason out of St. Paul, Minnesota, and I told him what we were talking about, and he agreed with you, though, too, in that, he's received thousands of dollars worth of material for free, audiobooks and whatnot, and he's never listened to them. But if he goes out and spends $10 on a book, he's probably going to read that book because he invested his own time and money into it. Mm-hmm. So even though I disagree with you, I seem to be on the losing end of this argument simply based on numbers alone. So, Tyler, where do you sit? How do you feel about this?
Yeah, where do you sit on this one?
Well, that's why I've been kind of silent, brothers, is the fact that, for me, I'm a perpetual member of my lodge in Lincoln, Nebraska, North Star 227. And what that means is basically it's a life membership. And I paid a certain amount of money, and from the endowment of that, it pays my lodge and per capita dues for the lodge and the Grand Lodge. And so I'm already, paid up and stuff. And now all I have to pay is my dual memberships, which is, for me, minimal. And but I do agree with both of your points in certain aspects. You want to be a joined up member. You want to, have your own type of mentality of going forth. Join for a reason, and you want to be a part of it with your own time and money. It's just, I think it has a lot to do with the membership as far as the lodge that they join. I think highly of mentorship and, the person or persons helping out that new brother to learn what it is to be a Mason and what fun and great fraternal organization it is, and to get that new member to find his niche as far as where he wants to be involved in the lodge.
I can see that. But what I'm taking from what you said is you're not agreeing with me, which is the problem. No, I'm kidding. No, you have a good point there. And, okay, Tyler, what's the next topic?
Okay, the next topic is the dues deposit type of notion. I think, Dr. Bob, you've mentioned at some point that you have something on that.
Was it dues or was it like initiation deposit?
It was dues.
It was dues? Okay.
It was dues. Okay, so and I came across a blog by Adam Osman, who is the author of Earning Freemasonry, an awesome book. I would encourage any Mason to read that. I hope to have Adam on one of our future shows. But he did a blog and on the argument about dues, and it's something that I would like to food for thought to throw out there. And what he suggests is that you raise the cost of yearly dues. Let's say I'm going to throw out $400 for Masonic dues. All right, so $400 to join for your yearly dues.
Okay.
All right, so the thing that you can do then is, by the more active you are, you can actually earn that money back. So you can actually work down your dues. So the more active you are in lodge, let's say you
hold an office or position,
absolutely,
or you show up every week. You bring cookies. You show up.
Well, exactly. You for each meeting you show up, you get so much money back. For each time you do a presentation, again, you earn your money back. If you're a lodge officer, again, you're able to work back your dues, so that the more active you are, the better you are. Now, the other thing is, okay, Nolan, you're the worshipful master of our lodge. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. There was a letter you recently sent out. What was that?
That was the dues notice, and it asked for people to show up for our coffee once a month, and it asked for people to serve on committees.
Ah, yes, it asked for people to serve on committees. Do you remember how many committees you had on that list? 6 committees. Okay, so you have 6 committees. Wouldn't it be great if we could have different people, like 5, 6 different people on each of those committees, versus I know what's going to happen, which happens in many other lodges and fraternities, where it's always the same 2 or 3 people that fulfill all 6 different committees. So if people were able to earn back money by being a part of a committee, call it bribery or what, wouldn't that help to increase more membership involvement?
If you didn't lose them to begin with, if you came out and said, pay $400, but you'll get to earn it back, you're going to have a lot of people saying, no, I'm just not going to be a part of the organization to begin with.
Well,
I think, now let me ask you this. You read that on your source, okay?
Right.
Which I'm, Earning Freemasonry, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, that was his
Does
blog.
he have any case studies that prove this is a viable model for dues in a lodge? Whether it's Blue Lodge or Elks or Knights of Columbus or any other fraternal organization, is this just something he did off the hip that said, hey, this is a cool idea, or does he have a case study? Because from my understanding, I've never heard that concept before, and not saying new concepts are bad. Yeah. However, without a case study, it's hard to prove that, given the mentality of how fraternal organizations work, that that's going to be a viable, implementable model for how you do this.
Well, to answer your question, that I'm not sure, and I would have to.
Okay, I'm going to look into it. It's interesting.
Yes.
I have my reservations. I'm going to see if there's any case studies on it, but I don't think that's going to be the answer.
Well, the thing is we got to find a way to get people more involved, and then I know when he talked about those who become officers, once you become a past master, then your dues are returned to you. You get all the money back. So basically, the part of his argument was you're going to get high-quality men that are going to want to work their way through the chairs. You're going to have some competition there. So you're going to have better men in the lodge.
It's kind of like private school. Here's the amount. Here's the amount you owe. However, you can work for us and get it reduced.
But
that's kind of the model of a lot of private schools work. Okay, I'm sorry, Tyler. I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, my thinking is, I see, again, I see where each's points are, and I'm the type of guy who has to be fair-minded and stuff, and that's
agree
my
with
personality.
Me. And agree with me.
Okay, yeah, no. Anyway.
Well, wait. Before we go on next, let me throw one more.
Well, no, this is his opinion on this topic.
Oh, okay.
Then you get to finish up, and then I get to prove you wrong on that too.
All right. Okay. Sorry, Tyler. Go ahead.
Well, my point is, kind of whether dues, are, of the amount of dues, or if it's, a deposit system where you get back or whatever. My thinking on retention of membership is, like I said before, is mentorship, and just kind of, for the new members, being able to go out and mentor the new members and find their niche, but also, those seasoned members, keeping on finding their niche. There's different gifts that, and I'm a part of the United Methodist Church, and we always kind of stress spiritual gifts. And it's kind of just like personal gifts of finding that niche of where, you'd be active. Whether that be, this person will be good at this particular committee, put them on. This person will be particularly good at, starting the officer line or something. And this person will be good, saying this event, this is, a charity or an event that I want to plan, and go with it.
But what you're saying, though, is you actually have to interact with people and talk to other people in the organization. What fun is that? No, I'm kidding.
That's the fraternity.
I'm kidding. No, and you have a good point there. You're giving people a reason to be there, and you're mentoring their skills and bringing the best out of them. You're not overcharging them for being there like somebody else wants to do.
Well, I'm not trying to overcharge. I'm trying to have an incentive program. If I remember correctly there, Nolan, a couple weeks ago we were talking about the you were.
Don't use my history against me. That's not the point.
I'm gonna use some operant conditioning. I remember you were the Skittles and helping my child to listen. The child listen, he gets a Skittle. So I think somehow coming up with an incentive program for members to want to get involved. Hey, I do something, ooh, I get rewarded. I want to do it again.
Yeah.
Now, so the other thing I might want to throw out here is this is something I think each Grand Lodge would have to look into. I mean, this is something that, they would have to do some research and study, but they could even do something as a scholarship program. All right, we can help those members who financially might not be able to afford whatever the dues are, but if you agree to be involved and be active members, you know what, we can offer this scholarship or something like that to help cut the costs for a person. But if you're not involved and you don't do anything and we give you the scholarship, guess what? You owe us the money.
Okay, now, I have a thought here, but I think we're going to save this for next week, and then we're going to get into our third point next week when we continue this discussion in part 2.
I agree.
Thanks for listening to our 2-part series on dues, dues, dues. We ask that if you have any discussion or comments you'd like to make on this topic or any topic, make sure you hit our social media that Tyler will talk about here in just a few minutes. We would like to thank this week's sponsor, Lakota Overton, an independent It Works distributor. Have you tried that crazy wrap thing that Titan Tones and Firms? For more information, give Lakota a call at 701-290-9544.
And if you know of any Masonic or appendant body activities coming up in the Bakken area, you can visit our website at www.bakkenmasons.com and click on the trestle board. If you have any comments or suggestions on an episode, you can contact us on our website, our Facebook page at facebook.com/BakkenMasons, Twitter at BakkenMasons.com, email us at contact@BakkenMasons.com, or leave us a voicemail at 701-484-1512. And if you are discussing a show, topic, or podcast with friends online, we encourage the use of the hashtag BakkenMasons.
The time has come for us to say goodbye. So for Brother Nolan, Brother Tyler, and myself, we'd like to thank you for listening and look forward to you joining us again. Next week, we will continue our discussion on part 2 of Dues, Dues, Dues. Until then, be Masonic proud. And now I leave you with these parting words which I feel is fitting for this topic. Do you just belong? Are you an active member, the kind that would be missed? Or are you just content that your name is on the list? Do you attend the meeting and mingle with the flock? Or do you stay at home and criticize the knock? Do you take an active part to help the work along? Are you satisfied to be the kind that just belongs? Do you ever go and visit a member that is sick, or leave the work to a few and talk about the clique? Think this over, member. You know right from wrong. Are you an active member, or do you just belong? So mote it be.